Hi, this is Michael Yale Silver. Welcome back to the channel. Michael Yale Silver of Michael Leslie Investments. I am a portfolio manager there. We work to manage people's portfolios, but we also, our experience is in an active trading. I've said that in some of the previous videos. But today, we had our video about buying DraftKings. So, we've been on that one for a while, and we're going to continue to be on that one. Uh, the current one that we're talking about, we're not saying whether this is a buy or sell, but we're going to talk about a little bit about Robinhood, which we've been hinting at in the previous two episodes. Robinhood has been on a tear. I'm looking at the graph right now. It's since the tariffs have been lifted, it went from 34 to 105. That's a 3x. So it tripled. You technically triple your money if you got in low. Obviously, it was hard to predict to get in low, but even if you've been in it for a while, like we have, dating back to 2024, then you at least went to from 41 to right now it's at 105. But now we're at the place where it's like you don't want to get greedy. Like you want to you got to time this right. If you have like a small amount invested, yeah, you can reach for the moon, let it ride. There's a lot of positivity to it. If you're another portfolio manager out there, or if you're managing your own portfolio, you don't want to let it you don't want to hold it for so long that you lose the profits that you had now. So we're just going to talk a little bit about it. First of all, if you've been paying attention to Robinhood, I know there's a lot of meme stock investors out there who probably were, but if you've been paying attention to Robinhood, it got stuck on 100. That was a resistance level. A lot of people with the huge run up that I'm looking at, a lot of people start selling before 100 because that's when they want to take profits, or at 100. They're all saying, I want to sell at 100, I want to sell at 100. And then because everyone's selling at 100, it never actually gets above 100, or it takes a while. And we call that a resistance level. But Robinhood is past the resistance level. If you saw today, it was at 105. We have an article coming out on the website where we talked about that 100 resistance level. We saw it coming before it actually happened, and then you have a breakout after it crosses that 100 threshold, and that's what we're seeing today. And yesterday, it was up maybe 3% yesterday. I'm looking at it now, it's up 2% today. Over the last 5 days, it's been up 8%. So we're now at 106. The price point's at 106. And the question is, when do we get out? When am I going to take the people I manage, my clients, out of Robinhood? I got in at a great time. It's been my best stock of 2025, but that all could be for nothing if you hold for too long, like we saw with Tesla. A lot of people are regretting not selling Tesla when it was up at 470 or 460. So, what are the key factors that we're looking at with Robinhood? First of all, earnings are coming up at the end of the month, so that's in about 13 days. So, do you want to hold until earnings? What happens if we go on a big run, if this breakout continues, if we go all the way up to 120, 130 that we've been predicting, even 140. I say if it's up to 140, even if it's before earnings, you sell. But Robinhood has been doing great on earnings, so you might want to hold till the earnings. The other factor we have to put in is that it's set. A lot of people predict for it to join the S&P 500 on September 5th. So um, probably 35, 40 days away. Do you want to hold that long? Because if it's set to join the S&P 500, it's going to get a jump there. It could have a 5%, 6%, 7% jump in one day on September 5th if it does get included in the S&P 500. We've been seeing that over and over again with many stocks that have been joining the S&P 500. So one strategy is if you either sell on September 5th after the jump. Another strategy is what to do with Robinhood is what everyone's asking now. It's been on such a growth streak. If we go into a recession, it's going to completely flatten. We're not going to have more investors joining the app. Robinhood is a if I I should have mentioned earlier, but it's a trading app. And so many new people are joining the app that it's so many new investors are pushing this stock higher and higher. It's going to keep growing. I'm not saying to sell everything, but this is something that you're going to want to capitalize on. And so the first strategy is sell on September 5th. Second strategy could be sell after earnings. They've been lights out on earnings. They're going to continue to be lights out on earnings. Their crypto, all the changes they're making, all the innovation. So they're gonna do well on earnings day too. That's 14 days away. Or what happens if the breakout continues in the next week, where all of a sudden at 120, do you just sell in the week before earnings, not take any risk. Here we're playing a little bit by ear with my investors, but we've had such a good run with it. I think we're probably we're leaning towards, and I recommend everyone else, if the faster it grows, or if the faster this breakout continues, if you can get it at 120 or 130 in the next 2 weeks, if that's before earnings or after earnings, I recommend selling it in the high 120s, high 130s, and taking the profits you got, because the valuation, that's the last thing, the valuation of the market cap is getting up there, it's getting higher, the PE's at 60, the valuation's getting higher, so it's now amongst some big companies. I think last time I checked, it's valued at the same as, I think, let me just check one stock that I saw that was climbing next to, yeah, Nike. It's getting up there with Nike. I mean, Nike's the number one in clothing and athletic clothing. So, at this pace, you're gonna have to make a call of when to sell, and we think, if it continues this breakout, we say sell in the next week and a half. But if it starts to slow down a little bit, if sellers start to take profits, but there's still some value to it, there's still about a higher intrinsic value, then we're thinking maybe you do hold to one of those later dates, either the earnings call or even to September 5th, when we expect a big jump. So stay tuned for our next video, and check our website, michaellesleyinvestments.com. There's a lot of articles, a lot of things you can learn. We're starting to include a lot of things about how to manage your own portfolio if you don't want to invest with Michael Leslie Investments. So we're trying to get people to learn how to do it on their own, how to allocate a portfolio between stocks, bonds, individual stocks, the retirement account, where to go with it. So at Michael Leslie Investments, we've been doing this for a while, so we know how to do everything you can to maximize what you have. So thank you. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next episode.